Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Ngọc Anh. Today we will learn about British and American culture. The first will be the part of American. To know more about what this part included, everyone let's go to find friends Hương and Nhung to better understand. Let's go!
Hello everyone watching the vlog channels. My name is Hương. Today at the beginning of the vlogs, I will talk about the first four BAC of the history of United States. The first is ethnic cultures, the second is religious cultures, political legal cultures, and the final is economic cultures. As everyone knows, Americans is a country of immigrants. Usually begin with Columbus in 1492 expeditions to the Americas, or just inhabited by people indigenous American, also known as Indian. After the founding of the United States, many Native Americans suffered the consequences of wars, exterminations, and unequal justice, and they continue to suffer from discrimination towards policies into the 20th century. At the first, I will talk about the ethnic cultures. Ethnic diversity has both advantages and disadvantages. Over time, it also diminishes the domination of Anglo-American Protestant cultures. There have been conflicts and racial tension between settlers, Native American, African American, and immigrants, which sometimes flare into violence. Today, they have to coexist and somehow fly together between them, and there is always the possibility of political and social unrest. This can lead to rejection of immigrants by settlements, American rejective Americanization, adaptation to mainstream American cultures by immigrants groups, Anglo-Americans, Protestant dominant cultures. They were responsible for advancing many of the new nation political, social, constitutional, and religious institutions that reflect Americans' dominant identities and set of values. And religious culture, religions is the second largest American cultures and had brought in many of beliefs that colonists, slaves, and immigrants brought in the United States over centuries. Some of early settlers established religious persecution in their homelands and helped to establish communities based on often inconsistent beliefs. Others part with them established indigenous sects. Many later immigrants also often identify clearly with their native beliefs and research them in the new countries. Although religion is a matter of privacy and separation from the state, constitutionally it informs aspects of social, economic, and political flights that go beyond purely sectarians. And political culture floor. Americans' first largest culture consists of political legal elements. The Constitution is central to the structure, but it must be interpreted by the judiciary, especially the U.S. Supreme Court in Washington, D.C., to determine if government actions are constitutional. The political system has flags of institutional checks and balances at different state and federal levels. Difference between party policies on minorities, the economy, education, jobs, religions, and social issues can be divisive in American society. And finally, economic cultures. The four-legged culture of the United States is the economic framework and the free enterprise system. Humans have historically just struggled for the economic and social existence, a process that can lead to exploitation, excessive and theoretical survival of the fittest mentally starving. This has raised significant disparity in wealth, social inequality, and different living opportunity. For example, in 2008, 28 million Americans depended on government food stamp debit card for their daily needs, and 48 million could not afford health care insurance. That's in my presentations. Thank you all for listening, and next is my partner's new.
Hello guys, you have come to my girl vlog and my name is Queen Nhung. Here I will introduce you to Americanness and national identity, social institutional change. American are added to US society. They are the part that I continue that talk about here. The first is Americanness and national identity. The ethnic, religious, political, legal, and economic cultural influence are the specific part of American life. An emphasis was entirely placed on Americanizations or the assimilation of different ethnic groups into a shared Anglo-American basis identity or melting pot. This process was gradually seen as pursuing immigrants to assimilate into an Americanized dominant culture with a resulting loss of their ethnic identity, led to social and institutional change. The major U.S. cultural agnostic for some critics is in local disease life and behavior of people of small town America, which typically defines their society rather than centralized university institution in the big city. Social structures contribute to a culture of various and often cognitive habits and ideas as well being practical also lesson for releasing them. The American attitudes to U.S. social structure are not remote abstraction. They affect individual directly in their daily life. American or US was for longer a sexual identity. The finding from the census success that more people now identify themselves and their ethnic background as simply American or US without the need to qualify hyphen such as Irish American is in my video and Hung introduce America. Let's welcome to Tom Vlog. Let's see what she say and have a nice day.
Hi guys, my name is Tam and I will continue with the British context. The first, we move to the history graph of the British. The constitutional title of Great Britain is the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The UK is made up of 4 countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. The conventional accounts of British history suggest that over the time the existence of these early immigrants have formed the basic multi-ethnic UK with mixed identity and cultures. The crown of British state and its empire was aided by growing economic and military
power, so that in the 19th century the country had become a dominant industrial and political power in the world. The British Act of Union of the 1707 and 1801 also gradually encouraged the idea of British identity Britishness. This would associate with Britain's imperial position in the world and its identification with powerful institutions. But individual identity within the formation of the Confederacy persisted and became stronger as other forces, such as class wealth and wealth inequality, arose in the 19th century. Pressure for political and constitutional change eventually resulted in the first division of Ireland in the 1921 and the second decentralization of the power in the 1999. And this change encouraged based on issues such as the nature of British nature and the structure of the United Kingdom. The British state has seen other fundamentally political reform and change over time and create a welfare state. The actions then changed the 20th century as a new political parties and coalition developed. Since the Second World War, Britain had difficulty adjusting to its withdrawal from the Empire. The increasing city size, special relationship with the United States of America, with move from Empire and the Commonwealth to economic and political environment commitment. In recent century, psychological and physical isolation has gradually begun to change, illustrated by the increasing cooperation between the UK and other European countries. Proposals to leave the EU have been on the rise in recent years. Negotiations continue between the UK and the EU in the 2016. It is likely that the EU will force the UK to strengthen its global free trade connectivity. The visitors see a future economic and political opportunities for Britain to take back control economically and politically. About the structural change of British, it has traditionally been argued that Britain's historical development has been guided by pragmatism and valuation, flexibility, common sense, and experience. As a result, structure and institution from both model and facilitate by struggle between social, economic, legal, religious, constitutional, and political argument. They have taken from different forms and size of institutions, operate at a national, local level, and shapes cultural identities, values, and attitudes. These structures reflect that become numerous and diverse in the 1960s. The number and variety top-down pattern of structure means there are many different lifestyles which contribute to the pluralistic nature of society. People question whether they can cope with and reflect on the demand of complex contemporary life, whether and they can be revamped to be more efficient or responsive. In the conclusive results in the 2010 and 2017 general elections, which result in a coalition and government with a majority respectively, reflect doubt and worries. The next, my partner and we will continue with the topic. Bye bye.
Hello everyone, it's me again. I will continue with the recent part. The next topic I want to talk about is contemporary conditions. Debating about the state of contemporary British society and its institutions continue, such as the robotic exit from the EU, Brexit. We stand today is a complete society in the which diversity and change have related problems, as well as advanced. Christians are now more non-conformist, more active, secular and individualistic than in the past. And the last topic, I want to talk about a realistic attitude to residents. Realistic attitude toward their leader and institution have often been strongly skeptical. The realistic public trust in the pillar of the realistic establishment is at best highly qualified. They seem intuitively to have discovered that the historic rotation again. This illusionment with their public figure and powerful institutions to avoid developing illusion about them in the first place. Recent have history experienced many popular reform and uprising again in the power of the state. What has been sought like, but the spirit of rebellion remains. Okay, after everyone had watched from the British part to American part, I think you might be quite confused, right? Don't worry, now I will explain to have people compare British, America and Vietnam too.
Hello everyone, my name is Thanh Bình. I'm going to show you the last content of our discussion, that the comparison between American and British context. Firstly, is the similar between historic role in American and British. The first is a diverse ethnic culture. The second is multi-faith and pluralist religious culture. The third is political legal culture, theoretically based on individualism, constitutionalism, and respect for the law. The fourth is an economic and consumer culture, driven by corporate and individual competition and production. Secondly is their way of life. The American way of life and the British way of life are defined by how citizens function within and respond to local and national constitution, whether positively or negatively. And the context of the USA and the UK also has some differences, such as firstly is a social and institutional. American organization and institutional have been constructed by over 300 years and reflect the value and practices. They take many different forms and sizes, operate on national, state and local level, and may be public or private in characters. The British social organization and constitutional principle of the state, such as parliamentary democracy, government, the rule of law, economic systems, welfare, and the religious faith, have mostly been slowly forced by dispute, conflicts, self-interest, consensus, and compromise, which continue today. Finally is their attitude to societies. Despite their diversity of origin and values, the Americans do have many shared common concerns. They identify in public opinion poll what are for them the major issues facing the country. Items such as the economic, politics, crime, ethnicities, religion, morality, immigration, and race regularly list the list of problems. British attitude toward their leader and institutions have often been strongly skeptical. In recent years, as opinion poll indicated through increasing popular dissatisfaction with political and authority figures. And compared to the context of Vietnam, like the UK and the USA, Vietnam also have a large number and diversity of ethnicity and groups, social groups, which means there are many different lifestyles and values, and all contribute to creating the diversity and unique characteristics of Vietnamese societies. And after learning this topic, I realized that the country that wants to develop quickly needs the trust of its people and the responsibility of the state. In addition, there should be society diversity, reasonable constitutional structure, and the right to commerce is not governed by the state. And this is the end of our topic today. Goodbye and see you next time.